Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Unity Center of Pittsburgh. We're going to get started in just a second with a little bit of music to start us off. Going to do Down by the Riverside. Please sing along. We're gonna lay down my burdens down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. We're gonna lay down my burdens down by the riverside, down by the riverside. We're gonna light shine. We're gonna let my Christ 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 light shine. We're gonna conquer my weakness down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. We're gonna conquer my weakness down by the riverside, down by the riverside. Let my Christ light shine. We're gonna 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 open my heart to God down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. We're gonna open my heart to God down by the riverside, down by the riverside.
Amen to that. Let's open our hearts to God and to the truth of your own God essence, of what you truly are, an expression of the divine. That is our unity teaching in a nutshell. We are not separate from God. We are literally the physical expressions of God, and God moves through us, through our thoughts, words, and actions. So we align ourselves with God and know this truth for ourselves this morning. It is so great to be here with you all. My name is Maryann Hackworth. I am your service leader this morning. We have Margot Jezer as our musician. And we do have our good friend Doug Knueven, who is going to be doing our message this morning. Very thought-provoking title. It's called An Enlightened View of Sin. And Doug and I were chatting a little before everyone arrived and saying how that word sin has such a trigger for many of us. So I really think Doug is going to open our minds to a new view of that topic. So thanks for coming this morning, Doug. Been looking forward to this. How about if we move into our prayer? Let's move into this moment, this space, and just feel the presence of God, the divine, that lives within you, within your heart. And let us just express gratitude. Thank you, Creator, for this life that I have been given, that we have been given to share this love into the world. We affirm here and now that we are willing and worthy of this task of bringing love into the world. We thank you for all of the assistance and the inner guidance that comes forth through our intuition, through our inner wisdom. We open our minds and our hearts to the realization that we are divine. And we say, thank you, thank you, thank you, God. Amen. And so it is. So we like to start with some announcements. We have, as always, our Reiki healing with Renee Jaluski. Renee, can you raise your hand for us? She is a Reiki practitioner. Reiki is the action or the healing modality of moving energy within the body, the healing energy of God. So after service, Renee will offer that to anyone who is interested, and any love donations that are collected go to our center. We thank you, Renee. We also have Doug and Judy Knueven are having their picnic tomorrow. You may mention that. Is it tomorrow? Next week. I'm thinking, wow, you're busy this weekend. Next Sunday. So everyone can still make it to Unity and go to Doug and Judy's home. They live in Beaver. And it is going to be from 3 to 8 p.m. It is the Association for Research and Enlightenment annual picnic. So you can always talk to Doug some more after service about going to that. It's a lot of fun. They have a beautiful home with a swimming pool and a patio and plants that you just have to see to believe. Huge leaves. So what else do we have? Oh, we have an exciting thing. It's called a Really Free Flea. And we started this last year. We collected donations from our community. We put them outside on tables. We had, in the hallway here, we had racks with clothing, and we had a blast. The whole neighborhood and people that were driving past came in, and it was free. So it is our way of giving to the community, of donating and giving back. So any donations that you would like to bring, clothing, household items, decoration, decor, Christmas and all that kind of stuff, everything. Anything you find in a flea market is fair game. But it's free. So you bring that as your donation. You can start bringing it anytime on a Sunday, and we'll store it here because the event is August the 29th. And anyone who'd like to volunteer to come on Friday the 28th to help set it all up, take it out of boxes and arrange it and so forth. Please see Donna right there. Can you raise your hand? Donna Hemiluski. She is an incredible events coordinator. And she's going to be here that Friday. What's the time again, Donna?
It's going to be 9 to 12.
9 to 12. So Donna...
This is our first time to open it up, to start bringing up the church.
Yes. Bring it in early, bring your donations early. It was a huge hit last year. I was thinking in my head, are we going to have enough stuff? Oh yeah, we had good stuff. I took stuff home and I brought stuff in. Everyone likes stuff. So here's the sign up if you would like to be a helper on Friday from 9 to noon, and also a sign up if you would like to be a helper on Saturday. And it's a blast, like I said. I'm going to leave these here.
Okay. Come in and circulate. Circulate. How much start?
That's a good idea.
It's going to be 9 on Saturday. And they start parking at 8:30.
Yes.
And it'll go 9 to 1.
Yes, sorry, I didn't mention that to anybody watching. Saturday, free flea from 9 to 1, and that again is August the 29th. I'm so bummed I will not be here. I'm going to be away, but trust me, it was very fun last year. So, is there anything I missed for announcements? I don't think. Is there anyone here for the first time that would like to introduce themselves? Would you? Anybody? Anyone here? First time? Nope. Okay. I guess I've seen everybody and met everyone at the door. It was great to see you all coming. Let's share a greeting with one another. We have a few minutes of music. Let's just say good morning. All right, everyone. Feel free to make your way back to your chairs. After service, you're welcome to. We encourage you to stay and have some coffee and continue on our conversation with each other. It's good to be here. I'm going to light the Christ candle at this point. We do it every Sunday. It is our reminder of oneness with the divine, one light, one love, one power, one presence, and it is eternal. Thank you, John. John does the candles for us. Thank you. Thank you, John. Now I'd like us to look at the affirmation on your screen right now, and I'd just like to add that the word, the Christ, is the awareness of the Christ consciousness. It's the awareness of the divine consciousness that's in all of us. It is not Jesus' last name. So as we move into that consciousness of unification with the one power and presence, let us affirm this together 3 times. The Christ in me is awakened now. The Christ in me is awakened now. The Christ in me is awakened now. Amen. And so it is. We have a vision and mission here at Unity Center of Pittsburgh. Please join with me as we affirm these words together. We envision a spiritually awakened world flowing with divine love. We are an inclusive, loving, growing community dedicated to teach, inspire, and practice positive spiritual living.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of yours, you're gonna let it shine. This little light of yours, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of yours, you're gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of ours, we're gonna let it shine. This little light of ours, we're gonna let it shine. This little light of ours, we're gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Now I would like to invite our good friend Ronnie Weiss to come up and share with us the daily word, joy.
Morning, everyone. So this is going to be the affirmation that we'll repeat after I read the daily word. Joy lives in my heart and blesses my life. I guess I don't need my glasses. Joy lives in me as an aspect of my divine inheritance. I feel it as the love in my heart and the peace in my soul that colors my every experience. Even as the rhythms of life shift, joy is my constant companion. When living feels light, Joy is in the harmony in my relationships, the laughter in my celebrations, and the satisfaction in my soul. When living feels heavy, joy is still present as my peaceful bearing and faith-filled presence. My joy blesses me daily, but it is not for me alone. I share it generously. I rejoice in being a source of light in times of peace and a shelter in times of trouble. I am blessed to live a joyful life. I affirm God's joy is my joy today and every day. So let's repeat the affirmation 3 times. Joy lives in my heart and blesses my life. Joy lives in my heart and blesses my life. Joy lives in my heart and blesses my life.
Thank you, Ronnie. Now I'd like to lead us into prayer. You may notice in your chairs in the row that you're seated, there will be a little green slip of paper. It's called our prayer slip. Prayerful intentions is what unity is founded on, the power that we have within us to use words, thoughts, and feelings to connect with the divine and to affirm our wholeness and our health, our prosperity, our healing. It's all there within us. And so if you would like, if you have a situation or a person in your life that you know is struggling with something and you'd like to place that intention on that slip of paper, please do so now. Bring that individual into your mind, and Margot will lead us as we're writing and praying with music, with song.
In this very room, there's quite enough love for all of us. And in this very room, there's quite enough joy for all of us. And there's quite enough hope and quite enough power to chase away for Spirit, oh Spirit, is in this very room. And in this very room, there's quite enough love for all of us. And in this very room, there's quite enough joy for all of us. And there's quite enough hope and quite enough power to chase away any gloom. For Spirit, oh Spirit, is in this very room.
Spirit, sweet Spirit, we join our hearts and minds in this very room to uplift these intentions. We know that divine order is already unfolding and perfect outcomes are already in existence for these intentions. We thank you, Spirit, for hearing our words, our prayers, our feelings, our thoughts. We are grateful. Amen. As most of you know, we send these prayers forth to Unity Worldwide Ministries, to the Silent Unity organization that's been in existence for well over 150 years. And they will pray on those for the additional 30 days. Now I'd like us to move into our meditation. So we're already in a very calm and still state. If you would like to uncross your legs, perhaps open your hands to receive, to feel the presence of the divine moving through you. And just breathe into this moment of now. Breathe in and release and breathe out, letting go, letting God. Letting go of interruptions in the mind. It's all right to let them go right now. Just be where you are, and that is quite enough. For you are holy, you are wise, you are compassionate love, you are the goodness of God. That is your truth. Breathe into that truth. Inhale it. And feel this compassion and love and truth moving through your body right now. Notice your energy. Feel it, the flow, moving through you, healing you. Every cell of your body contains this power. Every inch of your skin. Breathe into that. Welcome it. Breathe in and say, I am holy. I am whole. I am holy. I am whole. And now we breathe in and just allow this next minute to be in complete silence and feel the power within you. And now as you breathe in again, slowly begin to open your eyes. Notice the calmness that this presence has brought to you. Notice that feeling of gentle security and realize that it is always yours, always there, always present.
ice cream castles in the air and feather canyons everywhere. I've looked at clouds that way, but now they only block the sun. They rain and snow on everyone. So many things I would have done, but clouds got in my way. I've looked at clouds from both sides now, from up and down, and still somehow it's cloud illusions I recall. I really don't know clouds at all. Moons and Junes and Ferris wheels, the dizzy dancing way you feel as every fairy tale comes real. I've looked at love that way, but now it's just another show. You leave 'em laughing when you go, and if you care, don't let them know. Don't give yourself away. I've looked at love from both sides now, from give and take, and still somehow it's love's illusions I recall. I really don't know love at all. Tears and fears and feeling proud to say I love you right out loud. Dreams and schemes and circus crowds. I've looked at life that way, but now old friends are acting strange. They shake their heads, they say I've changed. Well, something's lost, but something's gained in living every day. I've looked at life from both sides now, from win and lose, and still somehow it's life's illusions I recall. I really don't know life at all.
Good morning, everyone. It's so good to see everyone here. I see that the topic of my message has attracted all the sinners. You know, isn't there something triggering about that word? I mean, I have to tell you that the last time I was here a month ago, I had that presentation prepared like 6 months in advance, and it kept getting canceled because of weather. I was supposed to give it around Christmas time. And so this presentation I didn't have prepared, and I was working on it this past week, and I really had a hard time sitting down and really putting this together. And I think it's because sin is such a triggering concept, and the way that many of us have been brought up within our various religions has made it difficult. And the thing that really got me started with it was that the Edgar Cayce readings had quite a few little nuggets and quotes about sin. And as I was reading those, I was thinking, wow, that's interesting. That's a different way of looking at this. So I wanted to make sure I shared that with all of you today. Oops, I went backwards. So my introduction to sin was in Sunday school, and I learned about original sin. And original sin involved, of course, Adam and Eve, these two prehistoric humans who God placed in the Garden of Eden, and he showed them all of these different trees, and he said, you can eat from any of these trees, but don't eat from that tree over there. And the Bible really doesn't say how long it took, but I'm thinking probably about 10 minutes. Because we all know as soon as you have one thing you're not allowed to do, boom, that's what you're attracted to. And so Adam and Eve ate the apple, and God got mad at them and threw them out of the garden. And at birth, my report card had this big red F on it before I even took the class. I'm born with original sin. And nobody was really able to explain that to me in a way that felt fair. What did I do to deserve this original sin? So I think that it's helpful to look at this story as an allegory. And I did borrow some of this information from Dynamics for Living by Charles Fillmore. So it's this particular part about the garden is kind of a compilation from both Cayce and Charles Fillmore. So we have Adam and Eve, which represent all of us, a soul group that chose to separate ourselves from the divine. And Adam is the male part of us. Charles Fillmore associates Adam with the ego and Eve with the soul. And they're in this Garden of Eden, this perfect place, which symbolizes a state of consciousness, of being in unity with divine will. And they are told to stay away from this tree of knowledge. And the Cayce readings, actually, I think it might have been Charles Fillmore, point out that it's knowledge without wisdom. So in other words, AI. And it's the knowledge of good and evil. And this I know came from Charles Fillmore, which is a misunderstanding that there are now two forces, a good force, a God force, and an evil force, a non-God force. So before taking part in this process, there was only one force, and we were all part of it. But this tree represents becoming part of this misconception that there are two forces in the earth. And then, of course, we have the serpent. And that actually reminds me of a time in practice as a veterinarian where I needed to prescribe Viagra for one of my patients that was a snake because it had a reptile dysfunction. I'm sorry. I may have just committed a mortal sin. But the serpent represents this desire for a different way of looking at things. And in the Bible, it says that the serpent is more subtle than any other wild creature. These desires kind of creep in, right? And the serpent says, go ahead, eat the apple. It'll be good for you. And the apple represents the object of physical desire, the apple of your eye. Eating the apple, when Adam and Eve decided to do this, was the actual choice to willfully disobey the divine order and go in this direction of physicality, of really fully entering the physical world. And afterwards, they realize they're naked. Now, they were naked all along, but now they become self-conscious. And this leads to judgment, guilt, fear, shame. And then what's the first thing that Adam does? God, that woman, she made me do it, right? I mean, what a jerk. He adds insult to injury of this disobedience, this willful disobedience to divine law. So that's a new way of looking at this Garden of Eden story than what I was taught in Sunday school. Now, many of us have probably heard this idea that the word sin came from a word that was an archery term that meant missing the mark. And that was the direction I was planning to go until I actually researched this. And unfortunately, that is a little bit of a misconception. It is true that in the New Testament, occasionally the word sin was translated into the Greek to a word that meant missing the mark, but it was never an archery term, and it mostly had the meaning of just failure. So I needed to actually re-examine that idea, although I think it's not far off. I may have just missed the mark a little bit. So what is sin? According to the Cayce perspective, all sin is self. Selfishness, self-aggrandizement, self-centeredness. This is what it looks like. You go to work Monday morning, and the first thing you're told is that Bob called off sick. And this Bob is your work partner, and your first thought is, oh, crud, now I have twice the amount of work to do. What is this going to mean for me? Instead of, oh my God, what happened to Bob? I hope he's okay. That's the subtle shift of this selfishness that the Cayce readings are talking about. Sin can be seen as willful disobedience of divine law. It's not like we're displeasing this outside deity. It's that there is a law of the universe of love. And when we go against that law, we find ourselves in a bad place. It's a matter of choosing self over oneness. And the readings talk about us as souls as all being corpuscles of God. We're all a part of this oneness. And sin is a matter of going rogue. We're going against the good of the whole. We're going against this oneness. So we become rogue cells. And we know what that is in the body, right? That's cancer. And we also know that cancer can metastasize. And all you have to do is look at social media to see how negativity can easily spread and metastasize. In fact, as humans, we have this negative bias because in our distant past, if there was a rustling in the bushes, it was safer to think, oh, that could be something dangerous, than to think, oh, I wonder what that is. And you go over and you get, eaten by a stegosaurus. Well, no, saber-toothed tiger. Yeah, so we have evolved to have a negative bias. And so it takes effort to stay positive. Now, this misalignment with the divine also causes conflict within our own bodies. And in fact, according to the Cayce readings, every cell of our body has consciousness. And so if we're not staying aligned with the divine will, with divine law of love, it can cause problems within our bodies. And in fact, one of the more difficult aspects of the readings is they say that all disease is sin. And again, if you use that word sin in the way that we were raised, it becomes very triggering. But the sleeping Cayce talked not so much about disease as he did dis-ease. He kind of broke the word down to this basic understanding that something's not going right in the body. And the reason something's not going right is because there is this misalignment with the divine. So this friction within ourselves of not living up to our spiritual potential causes problems within the body. And in fact, the Cayce readings have this almost as a matter of biological physics, where the autonomic nervous system, our automatic nervous system, gets triggered by this misalignment with our highest selves. And this can create systemic weakness and or stagnation. And that can lead to infectious disease, but also chronic disease. So again, every cell has consciousness. Now, another aspect of the Edgar Cayce readings is that sometimes sickness is due to a sin in a previous lifetime. We call that karma. And in fact, there was a reading for a school teacher. Edgar Cayce did this physical reading because she had this chronic venereal disease, even though she had never had a relationship with a man. And the doctors couldn't figure out where this came from. Cayce went into a trance and said, well, the reason that you have this problem is that in a previous lifetime, you were an outcast from society, so you decided to sell your body. And in that process, you contracted a venereal disease, and then you gleefully spread that all around because you were angry at the society who rejected you in the first place. And even though this person passed away and that body is long gone, this person's soul carried that pattern with them, and that disease manifested in this present lifetime as a way for her to understand that the way she used her free will in this previous lifetime was not a good way of doing it, and she was out of alignment. There was this natural condition that followed her into the present lifetime to help her fully understand this lesson of staying at oneness with the divine. Another person came to Edgar Cayce with chronic constipation. And the woman said, well, what sin did I commit to lead to this chronic constipation? And the reading said, the sin of neglect. So she wasn't taking proper care of her body. She wasn't eating the proper foods. So even not taking care of the temple, which is the abode of the divine here on earth, that can be a sin in that it's not leading to our highest, best selves. And also, even though the readings say definitively that disease is sin, there are cases where that's not really the case. So it is possible that an entity comes into this lifetime with a lesson to learn, and they choose to have a disease to help them learn that lesson. And I think that this might be the situation in the biblical story where Jesus and the apostles come upon the man who was blind since birth. And the apostles ask Jesus, is it this man's sin or the sin of his parents that caused him to be blind? Now, first of all, this is pretty much a statement of past lives because he was born blind, and certainly he didn't sin while he was in his mother's womb, right? So this must have been a sin that carried forward from a past life. And Jesus didn't say, well, that's ridiculous. How could this guy have sinned? He was in on the idea of past lives and mistakes in past lives being brought forward into this life. But the answer of Jesus was neither. It was neither the sin of the parents nor the sin of this person that he was born blind, but that the divine within Jesus could show forward by him healing him. To me, that's a way of saying, you know what, that's the wrong question. We shouldn't be looking at other people saying, oh, I wonder what sin she committed to have that problem. No, you don't know, and it's none of your business. And it may have nothing to do with a sin. It may be that they just had a lesson to learn, and this is the way they needed to learn it. And then I wanted to bring in, this was something that I found in Dynamics for Living, where Charles says, yeah, we're told by scientists that diseases are caused by germs, but they don't tell us where the germs are coming from. And his thought was that it's the thoughts that become the germs that become the disease, which isn't far off from what Edgar Cayce had to say as far as being out of alignment and causing problems within the body that can lead to infections starting. So I'm sure that we're all aware of the two types of sin, the sins of commission, which is willful acts of wrongdoing. You know you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to talk about the person behind their back. But you do it anyway because it somehow feels good in the moment. And this is a violation of the law of love. It's not that there's this deity out there who's going to punish you, but you're bringing yourself out of alignment. And according to the readings, sins of commission are relatively easy to correct by selfless service to others. But then there's the sin of omission. And this gets a little bit trickier. Gathering spiritual knowledge and not using it to help others. You know all those books that we read and it tells us all the stuff we should be doing, and then we move on to the next book? Or we go to a workshop and we learn about how to do certain things to help others, and then we move on and forget all about it? According to the readings, that is a sin of omission. You have something that could help others and you're not using it. So to know to do good and not to do it is sin. But that also means that doing the best that you know how to do is not sin. And so from the perspective of the readings, two people could do the exact same thing, and for one of them, it would be a sin because they knew better. And for another one, it wouldn't be sin because they didn't know any better. So the farther along we go on this journey to enlightenment, the higher the standards are for our behavior, and not just our behavior, our thoughts. Nobody gets punished by an outside deity for a sin. The consequences of sin is kind of like physics. So you're either facing the light or you're turning away from the light and you're facing the shadow. The shadows come as a result, It's a, physical effect. If you climb up on your housetop and jump off of your roof and you break your leg, gravity wasn't punishing you for jumping off the roof. It was the result of what you did. It was the natural result of your behavior. And that is kind of the consequences, the punishment that we put ourselves through when we stop aligning ourselves with the divine. And it also kind of points out that sin is a temporary shadow, not a permanent stain. It can always be overcome. It's a matter of exercising our free will. Sex. Do I have your attention now? Sex seems to be another triggering word and closely related to sin, so I thought I would just throw it in here. According to Edgar Cayce, sex in and of itself isn't bad, it's natural. In fact, the readings say it's as natural as flowers blooming in the spring. But what about adultery? The way I was taught is, it's this outer law, and as long as you don't do anything wrong, you can think all you want. But according to the inner law, sin is rooted in our thoughts and our attitudes. And when you think about adultery, the word means that you're diluting the potency of something. You're causing something to not be pure anymore. And so it's a corruption of the oneness with the divine. And that can be expressed sexually. It has to do with the attitude by which the act is being done. So is this for self-gratification or is it for a loving relationship? So according to the readings, it doesn't really have anything to do with marriage necessarily. It has to do with the attitude that both parties are bringing to this sex act. And adultery can be more than just a sexual act. It can be taking emotional advantage of someone. It can be lying. It can be cheating. It can be prioritizing the ego. All of those acts take away from the oneness with the divine that we are all meant to be experiencing. And all of this talk of sin can lead us into the trap of self-condemnation. Now notice the word, self-condemnation. What is sin? Self. So even this idea of self-condemnation is ego-focused. It is a sin. It is adulterating our oneness with the divine. We need to be aware that as humans, it is our tendency to wander off the path periodically. And we need to embrace these mistakes as stepping stones rather than holding on to them and kind of self-flagellation, that would be better than self-flagellation. But the idea is the more you hold on to your mistakes, the more you're holding on to yourself as opposed to oneness with the divine. And also realizing that condemning others is condemning self, because we're not judged by some outside deity. We are judged by our highest selves, and our highest selves know what we're capable of. We know what we are at our best. The resolution of this sin, of the consequences of sin, has to do with invoking the law of grace. So if we turn our self-centeredness into selfless service, we can realign ourselves with the oneness, with the love, and with the divine will. You know, we're told to do unto others what we would want to have done to us, because when we're meeting others, we're meeting ourselves. And in the Lord's Prayer, forgive us our debts as we forgive others. Because it is our higher selves that is doing the judging, we physically can't forgive ourselves any more than we can forgive others, because it's the same standard that our highest self uses. We must forgive to be forgiven. And that's how we empower the law of grace, by selfless service to others and by forgiving others. So looking at this paradigm shift, if we look at the nature of sin, the traditional view that I was brought up with is that it is a matter of breaking a forbidden earthly act, breaking a rule. Whereas from the Cayce perspective, it's a state of being which is in discord with divine love and the divine will. The consequences of sin from the traditional sense is judgment, punishment, damnation. From the Cayce perspective, it's simple physics. Every act causes a reaction, an equal and opposite reaction. And it's a matter of soul education, of furthering our enlightenment. The origin of sin, according to tradition, it's an inherited biological guilt, whereas from the Cayce perspective, it was a willful choice for self over oneness. And then the resolution, from a traditional sense, appeasing a wrathful deity. After confession, I would have to go out and say 3 Hail Marys and 5 Our Fathers. Whereas from the Cayce perspective, it's a matter of realigning with our highest ideal and the law of grace. And so the ultimate choice, it's our free will that gets us into these predicaments, willfully choosing to go against what we know is best. And according to the readings, there's no power in heaven or hell that may separate us from the divine oneness, but ourselves. It is within ourselves that separates us, and it's within ourselves to come to wholeness again and oneness again. It's a matter of choosing. Thank you.
Me and all my friends, we're all misunderstood. We say we stand for nothing and there's no way we ever could. Now we see everything that's going wrong with the world and those who lead it. We feel like we don't have the means to rise above and beat it. So we keep waiting, waiting, waiting on the world to change. We keep on waiting, waiting, waiting on the world to change. you get is what you got. 'Cause when they own the information, oh, they can bend it all they want. That's why we're waiting, waiting, waiting on the world to change. We keep on waiting, waiting, waiting on the world to change. It's not that we don't care, we just know that the fight ain't fair. So we keep waiting, waiting, waiting on the world to change. We keep on waiting, waiting, waiting on the world to change. Oh, we keep on waiting, waiting, waiting on the world to change.
Thank you so much, Margot and Doug. That was incredible, the tie-in there of Waiting on the World to Change. I think that's John Mayer's song. And it ties in so much because it reminds us that we're in control, that it is our choice, our free will of what we bring into the world and the views that we have about life. And that includes our view of prosperity. So we're ready for our prosperity practice, and I just wanted to introduce that in this manner because when we understand that we are part of this source of this oneness that we were talking about, this one power and presence, prosperity is our birthright. And so we are blessed and prospered. Think of the myriad of ways in your life that you are blessed and prospered. So we give from that place of knowing that it is in this circle of life of giving and receiving that we exist. So I thank you ahead of time if you're at home and giving online, or whether you're here in the sanctuary with us this morning, for bringing these ideas of prosperity forth in your consciousness. And also we have a practice that we've been doing lately, and I just wanted to tell you it's called unexpected income. And Reverend Arlene Meyer introduced it to us this year. She had done this at a church that she belonged to earlier, and we thought it would be neat to do it here. It's a way for us to realize that stuff flows into your life without even being expected. And so if anyone has a story of unexpected income, we've been sharing. You do have a story? Can you come up and share it? Because it's fun. It's good.
And you know what? Somebody who was there, who I never see at this church, is here today, so I have a witness. I went to an LGBTQ fundraiser last weekend, and it was like a comedian show and a drag show, and they had a 50-50 raffle, and I won the 50-50, and it was $150. So I'm tithing my 10% of unexpected income, and it was really fun. We had a great time.
Thank you so much, Lori. It's awesome. It's just, it really is. Life is good, and Spirit takes care of us. So with that in mind, how about if we take our offering in our hand, or whether you're at home and you're giving online, and there's a beautiful prayer that we participate in, our prosperity prayer, together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am grateful. Our ushers will collect as we can sing together.
Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for my friends, Spirit, thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit, thank you for my friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. this healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day.
Let us move into our unity principles, and we are grateful, we are thankful for these principles as our guiding principles in life together. God is the source and creator of all. There is no other enduring power. God is good and present everywhere. We are spiritual beings created in God's image. The Spirit of God lives within each person. Therefore, all people are inherently good. We create our life experiences through our way of thinking. Through prayer and meditation, we increase our conscious contact with God, bringing forth love, wisdom, health, prosperity, and everything good. Knowledge of these spiritual principles is not enough. We must live them. Yes, and so we do. Let's stand now. If you'd like to hold hands, it's up to you. We are going to conclude with Now There Is Peace on Earth.
Everyone ready? Now there is peace on earth, and it has begun with me. Now there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Now we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Peace has begun with me, and this is the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Now there is peace on earth, and it has begun
With me. The light of God surrounds me. I am light. The love of God enfolds me. I am love. The power of God protects me. I am power. The presence of God watches over me. I am presence. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. Amen. Thank you all. Have a wonderful week. We'll see you next time.